This is exactly why I firmly believe it is so difficult physically to get better at basketball. At the same time, while getting better at basketball, you can get extremely developed in terms of physical qualities like speed, acceleration, and deceleration. So this is a shooting workout I did, and I want to get better at a short burst acceleration. So think about it, one quick move for separation. And during this drill, I did a total of 100 shot attempts. 100. That's not super uncommon. If you're in basketball, you might do 25 from 4 different spots, maybe 5 different spots, 10 shots, and then do that again, 5 different spots, 10 shots, easily 100 just like that. But each of those 10 shots, you might be rotating the action, so on and so forth. So if you're not familiar with basketball, I'm just trying to explain that doing this many reps is not that uncommon. What you notice is time and time again, there is a high level of acceleration, which means there has to be a high level of deceleration. If you were programming for an athlete and you had them do 100 change of direction reps, you would probably think that's absolutely crazy. But someone goes on the court and they go and do 100 reps. And as a basketball player, you don't really think much of it. And this is exactly why when you train on the court, the training itself can be way more demanding than the game. Because in a game, you might only make, 12 to 15 of these really hard stop and goes. Maybe 20, assuming you're point guard and you're having to navigate a whole bunch of ball screens. But the reality is you're not doing that many stop and goes. And it's the stop and go that is extremely demanding on your joints, on your tendons, on your muscles. You don't have much stored elastic energy, so when you jog down the court, you have a little bit higher economy of running, so you can have a little more efficiency. With these movements, you just don't. And when you're done doing something like this, your hips are sore, your ankles are sore, and your knees are sore. And you wonder why? Well, it's because you're stopping and going, and you're not just stopping on your muscles, because obviously you need muscles to stop, but other forces like friction play a role. So you're actually stopping a little bit quicker than you would otherwise because those shoes are really good at helping you stop, which then forces those joints to deal with those forces. So how do we navigate all this? As a coach, if you realize an athlete is doing explosive movements like this, then let's emphasize this in training in 2 ways. 1, if we're going to do these movements, let's do it on the court. There's no reason to try and do these movements and then go in the weight room and then do some other acceleration, deceleration work, when in reality, they just got a ton of loading on the court. Number 2, if we're going to do them on the court, let's do them at the intensity we would do them in the weight room. So sometimes players on the court really don't go through their movements too fast. And that is a huge debate for skill, learning, and physical development. But I would like to err on the side of doing things game speed. So game speed, if we can do it on the court. Lastly, let's make sure we continue to keep this in our training so we can do this during the season. Because if we're in season and we're training and playing and doing all this stuff, we don't want to lose the capacity to actually get better. I always like to say, we train the ability to train more. That is your work capacity. This is something, as someone who got back into basketball, has been the biggest obstacle to overcome by far.